Yo, what is good, everybody? This is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction, and today is Friday the 18th, and this is another episode of the Composition. And what I'm doing is a podcast a day. Podcast a day. It is the consistency that I am doing within these 90 days, and so we are about done with the fourth week, I believe. I gotta double check and look at everything, but yeah, it's super dope. We got after this 11 more weeks, I believe. So, what I'm learning is just being more of service. And I look at that word and I look at what it is that I'm doing, and the way that you present yourself, especially when you're giving a service, is it's making me reapproach a lot of things. Like, I was going into YouTube, and the thing is that I like recognizing patterns, and so what I would notice is all across the board, whether no matter what your race or age or what it is that you talk about, one of the main things is within these patterns that I'm seeing with YouTube and just with what it is that I'm trying to do. So it's like I'm a multimedia company as far as a wellness company as well. I offer CBD, I offer guidance, tarot readings, different things like that. And so for service, for one, to get people to even know what's even why I'm into these particular things, I want to make sure that I'm showing up in these fields, understanding who you are in your community. And that may be your physical community, but maybe just to your community of people. What are your people talking to you about? And maybe it might be a range of things, but sometimes if you just pay attention to your conversation with friends or family, or people that you associate in general, you might see a pattern of what it is that you talk about. With me, usually when I'm engaging with people, I'm talking astrology. I'm talking about what's going on, how the stars and the planets are affecting different things like that. And people come up to me, they DM me, they engage when I put that particular content out. Now the thing is, I'm a creator, I'm a rapper, like I am, I write stories, I love creating, traveling, and different things like that. But I feel like some of the things that we get wrong when stepping into entrepreneurship is that, yes, you're working for yourself, but that's actually the hardest boss that you have to work for. Like, there's not going to be a boss harder than yourself. And the thing is that you can switch that up. You can, when you work for a bad boss, you don't want to come to work, you don't want to show up for work. And it's not the fact that you're bad in a sense, like you're yelling at yourself, or different things like that, but sometimes just being overly critical or being too nonchalant. Like, the thing is that if you are wanting to start anything, whether that be for YouTube, whether that be a podcast, whether that's music making, whether that is, astrology, architecture, whatever it is, you have to put in as far as the energy that is needed to maintain that. And there's a level of professionalism that goes into these different things. So whether that's YouTube, understanding how YouTube works, and it's constantly changing. So for one, you got to be adaptable. The reason why I say that you're going to be your hardest boss, because some people, when they get into entrepreneurship, they think, that it's supposed to be completely different than the 9 to 5. The thing is that the 9 to 5 is just a placeholder for work. You still got to do work, working for yourself. Like that doesn't go away. So the same way you have to maintain a level of professionalism and stick to these systems that generate as far as income for the business, because that's what you have to take into consideration. Like, this is you're a working part that keeps the business sustainable, and they have these systems in place to where these are the things that, if you're doing these tasks in your job, this is going to keep us afloat. And so you have to sit down within yourself and really look at, like, okay, like, whoa, when it comes to your YouTube, for example, and I'm using myself because I can literally see these type of things. So when I was on looking up YouTube, different things as far as like what uh influencers or what YouTubers won't tell you about YouTube and all these different, things. There's a couple of nuggets that I was able to extract from that, but it also made me look at certain things from a different light. So let's look at, for example, let's think about the first thing. Let's say that you got your video recorded and it's edited. How are people going to, watch how are you going to attract people to your stuff? Okay. Some of the most important things when doing your YouTube, and I'm seeing this within myself: thumbnails and titles. I didn't know, and it makes perfect sense. It didn't click to me. When you're doing these thumbnails, you have to take into consideration that this is a thumbnail. This is a small image, and a lot of these people who are viewing your stuff are on their phones. So you want to make sure that you have 4, really no more than 5 text on there as far as, words, and make sure that they're big. But on top of that, you also want to look at, again, how the thumbnail looks. How are you attracting people? It doesn't have to be super complicated, but you want to keep it consistent, and so that's another thing to look at: consistency. But also the titling. One video that I was looking at, and this was like super on point. So there's this YouTuber, and he had a guest on there, and that guest has a client who is a YouTuber. And so they brought up that client's YouTube page, and this person is in lifestyle, beauty, different things like that. And the guy was asking the YouTuber, what can I do, because she's doing things that are popular, but she's not getting the views, of course, like, some of these other people. And right away, the YouTuber was seeing several things that can be changed. He was just like, okay, like the thumbnail is dope, but I think, with the title, for example, these glam bags or Etsy bags, as far as that, women get monthly. One of the videos was her doing the unboxing, and so the title was like unboxing, glam bag. And he was just all like, all right, well, for one, let's look at the search and people who were searching. He was just all like, she has to be more specific. This particular month was July, and he was just like, July isn't in the title. So she's missing out on a lot of that traffic for the sheer fact that she wasn't more specific for the month that she got it. And those things are very, very important. So you're looking at the thumbnail for one, and then you're looking at the title of the video. Now, if you've noticed on some videos, especially when you're looking at it on the side, it will have suggested for you versus the actual views. Now, that's very important because that means that if you show up on there, the person is not looking for based on how many views the video has. It is based on the thumbnail and the title. So if you're putting out YouTube videos, for me, what I've noticed, I'm putting out these podcasts, and what I do is I record the audio and then I put it to an image, and then I put the audio on Anchor, and then I put the video, because the image with the audio now turned into a video, and I put that on YouTube, and so what I've noticed is, going across platforms, you're going to have to make the thumbnail different. So I also put that video, once it's on YouTube, I download it, the video, and then I put it on IGTV, because when you download it from YouTube, it's already set up in the format that all you have to do is upload the IGTV. Now the thing is, with IGTV, you have to change the dimensions of the thumbnail so you can be able to get everything, or it's going to be like completely cut off and look weird. So, what I have to do is I have to, within these podcasts, extract and take out the actual parts that people are searching for, so that way I use that as the title and I make a thumbnail that's going to be based on that. And that way, that umps up the chances, because what you're doing with YouTube is, there's two reasons that people come on YouTube: for knowledge and for entertainment. So if you're not doing either one of those, you're already kind of like losing. And losing isn't bad. Losing allows you to know what you need to change up. Now, does that mean that you need to be like super niche or anything like that? But understand, as far as the way that certain things work. So for example, the astrology videos, for me, I know, for one, I need to, as a form of service, I need to be delivering more astrology videos, and I need to do them in a timely fashion, and then be able to make sure that it's being broken down, the audio format, and also let people know. So for one, for example, we just had a new moon. So a lot of people are going to be, for knowledge, they're going to be searching how the new moon in Virgo affects me. And because the two top search engines are Google and YouTube, which Google owns YouTube, when people search on Google and there's a video that matches with that, you're going to get the videos first, which goes to YouTube. But that's also taking into consideration that, yes, this is a current thing. So there's going to be that initial traffic. Now, this Virgo moon is something that's in effect for the next 6 months. You're going to feel this energy for the next 6 months. So realistically, people can go back throughout these 6 months and then go back and listen to it. But the initial traffic was because it was new. Same thing as far as with series, or when certain celebrity different things come out, if that's your thing. It's being quick and understanding that this is a funnel into who you are. So people might come to you for this, but then they look at what else you have and they may stay because of the other stuff. But then if you're doing knowledge, you're doing information. So for one, you want to see what's a theme that people are looking up constantly. People at this point, if you have knowledge on, how to be better on YouTube or podcast, or how to make money during this time, or passive income, they use certain words because those are the keywords that people are searching for. Now, there are free tools like I think vidIQ and a couple of other ones that will let you know what people are searching for, what tags other YouTubers are using. You don't have to, like, that's why you see some people that are having major growth, because they applied the formula, and they use themselves, so you have a personality, you branded your personality, and then they're able to then deliver on information or entertainment, or a combination of both. There's a one YouTuber that I discovered, and she dropped a lot of information, which is some of the stuff that I'm telling you about, Kelly Stamp. Now, I came across her because the way that the YouTube algorithm was, I was researching, I think, different things with YouTube. She popped up, her original video popped up, and then I ended up seeing another YouTube explain how she got to where she was at so quick. And I actually saw that video first before even looking at any of her videos. And then I actually went into her videos, and it clicked as far as like, oh, okay, this makes sense, and she saw the difference from her doing like she has her own personality that shows. So even though she'll do a video like how to, make a YouTube channel from zero and different things like that, she's doing it in her own unique way, which is like this really dry humor, but it's also very real, and she does it even with the candle, the camera angle. She'll like purposely, you see some of the YouTubers where they'll do like the zoom in or whatever, like she'll do like a zoom in but to a random like area that makes no sense, but it's just like the kind of prove a point or whatever. And I love the fact that she's given it in a way that is practical, but it actually sticks with me. It's the same thing that I'll hear someone like Gary Vee or somebody say, but for me, and really it clicking, it took, me seeing that for me to really understand, like, okay, you really do want to treat this as a business, no matter what it is. That's why the whole boss thing, back full circle, working for yourself, understanding that you're in a world where there are systems that are in place. Yes, being a YouTuber is hard work. When you're actually doing the work, it may seem easy if now there are ways to make it easy. So, for example, with me, I watch and read Black Clover. So, those come out weekly. So, if I know that I'm going to be doing a video that is a breakdown or different things like that, then I can have certain things set up to where all I'm really needing to do is change the text or change the, the title or whatever, and change the audio, and everything is like good to go. So that makes it easy. I don't have to actually create a brand new video every single time. You know, even when it comes to even the music reviews, I can have a template in place to where it's just like, I don't, there's certain things that require a lot of extra stuff, and then there's things that you can set up that are template. That means that all you really are changing out is either the audio, or if you are doing the video, you can have everything pretty much set up the same way as far as where the subscribe and like comes up, where certain links come up. All you're doing is changing the physical video itself and doing whatever cuts and edits with that. So it is showing up for the stuff that it is that you're doing. I know with me, if you're someone who has multiple interests and things like this, you really have no choice but to have a system. That's what I've learned. You're going to crumble and I hope that you don't, but just through my experience and observing other people who are if you don't have a system, you're going to get swept up. You're going to get swept up, swept away. It's going to be too much. And of course it's going to be too much. You have all of this energy and you don't have any system to organize it. So that's why it's so important to figure out what it is that you're even doing. If you have a YouTube and you just want to document, as far as like, this is just for like my family, they'll be able to go on here and they'll have like these videos. It'd be something cool for me to look at. But if you're someone who's looking at views, you're wanting to grow on YouTube, you're wanting to grow on any platform, you have to treat it. How do you grow anything? How do you grow a plant? It takes work. It takes work. Now, a lot of it's understanding, how to do a lot of things. Like, and there's nothing but information on it. I had to realize for myself, as for someone who is kind of like on the fence with social media, like I can be on it, but I'm just all like, I kind of don't want to have to be on here all the time. Guess what, everybody? It is 2020. I was just having this conversation with my whole boy Kenyo, because there was a point in time where I documented everything that I did for like 27 days, and how much I spent, if I posted on social media or not. And guess what? In the year 2020, there's no excuse for you not to have something posting every day. Now, listen to what I said. Something posting. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to be posting every day, because they have free tools where you can schedule out a post. So even if you don't, there's really no excuse. It's really setting those stuff up. And that's a big realization that I had to come within myself, is that really there's not an excuse. You don't have to physically be online every single day. You just need to have everything set up, so that way, boom, every day people are seeing your stuff, because that's what it takes. Realistically, not unless you're paying for it, or you release something that pulls a particular amount of steam and traction, you're not getting those organic views like that, point blank. And it makes sense. You're on someone else's platform. You have to create your own platform, which is why it's important to generate email lists, contact lists, different things like that. Again, if you're a creator, this is some of the stuff that isn't fun. You're just all like, I don't want to do that. So what options do you have as a creator? Okay, as a creator, you're either going to have to hire someone to do that, or you're going to have to make time to do those things. They cannot not be done, because if you're a creator and you're running your creative business, you have to do business side of things. There's no way. This is what I mean. Like, I documented what I did for 27 days. And I think out of those 27 days, I think either 7 to 10 of those days I posted on social media. Now, looking at the amount of sales that I had and different things like that, there is really no excuse on why every day there shouldn't have been something that was at least scheduled to go out. In that way, even if I'm not there for the day, my post is there. So that's another opportunity, as far as and I can have it to where it's like two, one at the beginning of the day, one towards the end of the day. And it can be something, one of them is a share of something, valuable, and the other thing is like, hey, CBD, da 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 da. But I have to set those things up so I can work smarter, not harder. So, yeah, I may have showed up for 10 of those days, But guess what? I could have had another 17 days of content that went out, and I'm pretty sure my sales would have been a lot different. I like literally like almost guarantee it. And the only reason that it wouldn't transact for any reason, whether that be to gain a fan or to gain a subscriber or to, sell a book or an album or a CBD or anything like that, would be the post itself or how it was presented or the angle of the post. So then you have to do research on, okay, what post transact? How does it need to look? How does it need to feel? Because the content is going to change. That doesn't change as far as the uh, formula for what works. Because the cool thing about about a formula is it's going to be X plus Y equals Z. And so you get the change as far as those variables. What are the variables to equal as far as a transaction? So it's just all like post that includes wording like this with images that are similar to this happen to transact more. So you may not have that same product, but it's to be like, how do I present my product or what it is that I'm trying to say in a way that's where it actually transacts? Even my homeboy Justice was just like, yeah, he was looking at a YouTuber and he was talking about, yeah, putting your book every day up on your stories, somebody's gonna end up buying it. And he was just like, yeah, I put it up, every day. Like 6 people bought my book. And he's selling his, for like a cool 25 or so, dollars. So it's just all like it's like 150 just on the back. Boom. That just took every day posting on, on IG stories. Where's the attention at? Sometimes it doesn't need to be this, especially with the thumbnails. Like I've seen very basic thumbnails, but it's not basic in the sense that that's what transacts. Bright colors, your face, or like something, with it, and as far as like 4 to 5 words, that are big. So I know that this was a lot for this podcast. That's just how hype I am, about getting this information and applying it. You have to show up and be a better boss for yourself and your company. Even if you're a creator, you have to have the systems in place that are going to, if you're running a business, you're going to have to make business choices and you're going to have to do things that generate income. So for example, when I bring up myself, because this is where I'm able to look at it, the same way as far as with those 27 days, different things like that. I also have to look at, how is my channel set up, how is the description and different things. Did you know that the way that the YouTube algorithm is if you have a link within the first couple of lines or paragraph that goes outside of YouTube, they're going to push you down on the algorithm? I didn't know that. And then I look at, my descriptions, and it's just all like pretty much the first link is outside of freaking whatchamacallit to, I think, my store or like my Instagram or something like that. And then on top of that, the descriptions aren't very long or like really descriptive, and then on top of that, the titles will be like, I have to really ask myself, like, who's searching organizing space? Like, some people are probably looking up organizing, and some people are probably looking space, and then the way that you look at space. So, okay, organizing space, yeah, that could be, DIY or different things like that. But again, it's just like that guy was saying for that guy's client, and it not being very specific. The titles aren't very specific. It's so, think about how many millions of videos are on organizing and are on space, let alone organizing space. And I don't even think that in that particular podcast I was talking about organizing like a space. Well, yeah, it was organizing as far as your environment and the space within there. But some people could be like, nigga, how are you gonna organize like outer space or whatever? You know, like they probably see that. And then on top of that, the thumbnail wasn't, so it's like I can't complain that I don't, or that it's not transacting when I'm not taking the time to do the business side of things, to research, to really. Here's a trick. Make sure that after you edit your piece, that you, of course, you want to look at it, make sure everything's good, after the editing process. Let's say you have no more to edit, take the time to actually look at it, not from an editing standpoint, because again, the editing's done. So make sure you turn off the editing, hat. Turn off the editing hat. Once you have that editing hat off, take the time to actually look at the video. Have a notebook nearby, or a memo pad up on your computer or whatever, and type or write down certain keywords or phrasings or celebrities or just whatever might have popped up. And then make sure from there that you go and you use these different, you either do your own research, or you use these free platforms like vidIQ. There's another thing, Rapid Tag, that I had found. And then you get the tags and you find the titles for these things that popped out, that you're just all like, okay, like maybe you had something for self-care, but it had to deal with as far as like sleeping. So then go on YouTube, look up sleeping routine or different things that people are searching within that, and that people have created within that, and that way you can angle it in a way to where it'd be a catching title. It's the same thing that I learned when it came to article writing. With certain titles now, there's clickbait, you know, but you're using a form of that in the sense that you're using what's popular. You're not changing the video at all. You're just highlighting the parts that are going to get people's attention. That's really what it is. Formatting everything. So when you see this particular podcast, I don't know if it's going to be in the way. I want to go ahead and just, because there's so many different things that I'm like looking at, and I'm just like, all right, I want to make sure that I get something formulated to start. So I think that a lot of this is going to be next week stuff, because there's today and tomorrow, and then I have my Sundays. So I feel like today and tomorrow is going to be really creating, knowing what it is that I'm going to be talking about, know putting how often I'm going to record, what days I record, and really getting down the system and the business, and realizing that these things take time. A lot of these YouTubers take several hours just of editing. That's already like its own thing. So understand, like, it takes work, you know. Just really look at what it is that you're doing and what you're wanting to do on these platforms, and figure out how to be a service, or figure out how to entertain, which in itself is a service, but there's so much room. Like, I'm really I mean, I'm just rambling at this point. So, anyways, this is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction. This is another episode of The Composition. And make sure, if you're listening to this on Anchor, you can go ahead and drop a little voice memo. If you're listening this on another platform, from your favorite streaming platform, or just directly in general, add this to your playlist. If you're on YouTube, make sure that you have hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, drop a little comment. Let me know what it is that you think about this, and any ideas you have on content, or what you would love if someone made content of. So yeah, let me know, and again, you can throw some support my way by way of t-shirts, my book, my music, CBD services. Hit up daptro.com/shop, as well as the description. It's got all the links up in there. But again, this is Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction. Peace.